In episode 5 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, sometime in the past, shortly after Panda's birth, Masamichi Yaga was imprisoned in a sealed cell with both of his hands bound in talismans. He was interrogated by Gakuganji on behalf of the higher-ups, who feared his abilities. While cursed corpses normally function by consuming the cursed energy of their creator, Panda was different, a fully independent cursed corpse capable of generating his own cursed energy. This made the higher-ups fear that Masamichi could potentially create an army. At one point, they even considered designating him as a special-grade sorcerer and restraining him indefinitely. When Gakuganji demanded to know how Panda was created, Masamichi claimed he didn't know. In the present, Masamichi is on the run, hiding in a forest alongside one of his cursed dolls. The doll speaks to him, noting how worried everyone is about his gloomy demeanor and suggesting that they should try to cheer him up. Masamichi admits that he won't be able to return for a long time, but reassures the doll that Master Tengen protects the forest and that his mother will come to visit again. Masamichi then opens a small door at the base of a tree, revealing many small, harmless cursed corpses he created. Though they can survive without him, they express how much they'll miss him. Meanwhile, at Jujutsu High, Panda has been captured and placed inside an isolation chamber to lure Masamichi out. Kusakabe secretly cuts Panda free with his katana, repaying a personal debt to Masamichi, and tells Panda not to reveal who helped him escape. A flashback reveals that Masamichi once created an independent cursed corpse using the soul information of Kusakabe's nephew. Kusakabe's sister had been emotionally broken since her son's death, confined to a wheelchair and unable to move forward. When the cursed corpse met her, it instinctively recognized her as its mother. Hearing her son's familiar mannerisms and catchphrase, Kusakabe's sister stood up from her wheelchair and embraced him. However, Masamichi could not allow the cursed corpse to stay with her, as Panda had not yet been created and the existence of independent cursed corpses had to remain secret. Kusakabe tearfully thanked Masamichi for what he did for his family. Back in the present, Masamichi is confronted by a masked sorcerer with a scar over his left eye, an enforcer of the higher-ups, who reminds him that he's been sentenced to death, and that the only way to survive is to reveal how to create independent cursed corpses. Masamichi comments that the higher-ups have grown bold in Gojo's absence, a sentiment the sorcerer agrees with, noting he's brought a veteran ally. Gakuganji then emerges from the shadows and, after a brief clash, delivers a fatal blow to Masamichi using his guitar. Masamichi collapses against the wall, blood splattering as two deep wounds cross his chest in an X shape. Gakuganji orders the masked sorcerer to leave, insisting that the matter between principals be settled alone. With his final breath, Masamichi reveals the secret behind independent cursed corpses. Soul information can be recreated from physical data and placed into cursed corpse cores. Each core must contain 3 highly compatible souls that constantly observe one another. Only then can the souls stabilize, gaining self-awareness and producing self-sustaining cursed energy. As Masamichi explains this, Panda races toward him, desperate to save his father. Shaken, Gakuganji asks why Masamichi would reveal the secret now instead of earlier to save himself. Masamichi replies that this knowledge is a curse, one he's deliberately passing on to Gakuganji. Panda arrives moments too late, calling out to Masamichi as he dies. Gakuganji drops his broken weapon, bracing for Panda's retaliation, but Panda walks past him without even a glance. When Gakuganji questions why Panda doesn't seek revenge, Panda explains that he isn't bound by human instincts. He understands that Gakuganji cared for Masamichi and that the orders came from above. Still, Panda cries for his father and tells Gakuganji to remember his tears. Before leaving the tombs of the star, Yuji and Megumi receive Kinji Hakari's location from Master Tengen. Hakari is currently making money as a bookie for an underground fight club operating out of an abandoned parking garage in Tochigi Prefecture. The club hosts hand-to-hand combat matches between sorcerers, with most of the audience being non-sorcerers, meaning Hakari is blatantly violating jujutsu secrecy laws. Tengen warns them that curse users are likely involved and advises them to proceed carefully. When Yuji and Megumi arrive, they change out of their Jujutsu High uniforms. Megumi explains that Hakari has been suspended, and if he realizes they're still affiliated with the school, he may see them as enemies aligned with the higher-ups. Even so, they need Hakari's strength for the culling game, so they decide to take the risk and try to recruit him. At the garage entrance, the two are stopped by a manager and a security guard. The guard threatens to attack, throwing a punch that stops just short of Megumi's face. Megumi doesn't flinch, impressing the guard, who warns them that secrecy is rule number 1. Megumi claims he learned about the club from a sorcerer he killed, a man who disappeared about a month earlier. The manager recalls someone matching that description and, after consulting the boss, agrees to add a replacement fighter to the tournament. The catch is that Yuji must be the one to fight. Megumi argues but ultimately accepts, knowing Yuji is the better fit. As they leave, Yuji calls Megumi's bluff risky, but Megumi reasons that a fight club involving sorcerers likely sees frequent disappearances. More importantly, they confirm Hakari is nearby and watching through the cameras. The plan is simple but dangerous. Yuji will enter the tournament to get close to Hakari, while Megumi tries to sneak in from the outside. If Megumi is caught, Yuji could also be exposed. Their goal is to recruit Hakari peacefully, using force only as a last resort. With Tsumiki's culling game deadline approaching, Megumi is anxious to act. That evening, Yuji returns alone and is briefed on the tournament rules: no retreat and no jujitsu. The matches are meant to entertain spectators, and there are both scripted and unscripted fights. The bodyguard explains that standing out in an unscripted match is the best way to earn the boss's attention. Yuji enters the arena, where spectators watch from above. The announcer introduces the fighters: Yuji Itadori vs Panda. In the monitoring room, Hakari is bored, convinced Panda can't lose. However, Yuji quickly proves him wrong. Yuji and Panda secretly cooperate, putting on an incredible show while exchanging information mid-fight. Panda confirms Hakari is avoiding him and gives Yuji the signal to end it. Yuji lands a decisive blow, and Panda dramatically sells the defeat. The crowd goes wild, and Hakari is impressed by Yuji's presence and showmanship. He orders his staff to bring Yuji to his office, hoping to capitalize on his popularity. Meanwhile, Megumi sneaks through the garage using shadows, overhearing conversations about him being watched. Hakari instructs Kirara to keep an eye on Megumi. Panda later meets Megumi outside and explains that Kirara's curse technique prevents anyone from approaching Hakari's room, no matter how fast or slow they move. Despite the risk, they prepare a backup plan in case things go wrong. Inside the monitoring room, Hakari meets Yuji and immediately launches into a strange pitch, asking if Yuji believes he could earn 1 million yen a month by working 1 hour a day. Yuji is confused and suspicious. Hakari admits it sounds like a scam, and explains that scams, gambling, and even life itself revolve around fever, the emotional high that drives people to take risks. Hakari believes fever is what fuels love, ambition, and ruin. He wants to control it on a national scale using his fight club, especially now that cursed spirits are becoming public knowledge and Jujutsu society is changing. He asks Yuji if he wants to get caught up in that fever with him. Just as Yuji prepares to bring up Jujutsu High and ask for help, Hakari's phone rings and he questions Yuji about Gojo. Yuji pretends not to know Gojo, which immediately raises red flags. Hakari confronts him, then suddenly attacks, throwing a glass and activating his curse technique. Massive sliding doors attempt to crush Yuji, and despite Yuji trying to explain, Hakari refuses to listen. And that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.